Hello and welcome back to Uncle Matt's Cookery Lessons. I'm going to show you how to make this delicious shepherd's pie. This is with a braised lamb shoulder. It's a little bit different to the usual one with the mince. Absolutely lovely. I'm going to show you how to do it now.
And there is your recipe. I'm using a Dutch oven or cast iron pan here. You could just use a normal saucepan if you like. Smoking hot, by the way. I'm just showing you that the bone is still in this lamb shoulder. That will add a bit of flavour to it, but it's not essential. Basically, I want to get this nice and brown all over. Nice deep brown colour. That will add a lot of flavour to it. It's not sealing flavour in, that's a fallacy. It's just creating flavour, and also the colour helps to add a depth of colour to the finished dish. Fairly light with the seasoning. Because I'm using a stock cube, a beef stock cube for this recipe, I wanted a brown stock rather than a chicken stock, but they are quite salty, so anyway, watch out for that. So take your time, make sure you get this lamb nice and brown all over. You probably want to shut the door to wherever your smoke alarm is. Get your back door open if you've got one to your kitchen, open the windows, because this will stink out the place. But it's worth it, I promise. So just get that lamb out, and now we're going to chuck the mirepoix vegetables. That is the stock vegetables. There they are. Don't be too fussy about how you cut them up, just chop them up anyhow how. They're just for flavour. I've sweated them down for about 5 minutes as well. Get a bit of colour into those again, more flavour and more colour. Once you're happy with that and they're not burning, get your lamb back in, nestle it nicely in there, and then we're going to get the stock in. A litre is just about right for this dish. You do not want to completely cover your meat. That's the whole point of braising. That's the definition of it, basically. It's cooking in liquid, but not fully submerged. There you go. The herbs can go in at this stage. Then you can get the lid on and pop this in the oven. I've done this, mine, 150 for about 4 hours. Times may vary, depends on your oven, just depends on the size of the lamb, etc, etc. You're cooking it until, and I'll show you in a minute, until the lamb bone becomes nice and loose. If you're particularly confident with your oven and the pot you're using, you can do this overnight. Just turn the temperature way down, below 100 degrees, say about 80 or 90. And pop it in for about 12 hours overnight. It should be fine, but as I say, I'm not responsible if things go wrong and you burn it. So just showing you there how tender the meat is. Absolutely gorgeous. And there you go, that's how easily the bone comes out. You know it's ready. Lovely. So I'm going to get the meat out at this stage, and then I'm going to strain the stock. Those vegetables have done their job. We don't need them anymore. You might want to fish around in there just in case the meat has broken up and there's other bits in the pan. Mine stayed as one piece, just about. It's a good time to get the rest of the bones out. And also, chef's privilege, you get to have a bit of lamb. Yum. The reason I'm using my conical strainer for this is because I want to really squish all the excess flavour and juice out of those vegetables. If you're using a sieve, go easy. don't put too much pressure because you'll break your sieve. But for this, using this conical strainer, you can see that I'm able to really give them a good squish. So this is the vegetables that goes in the braise, basically, in the stewed part. So I'm using parsnips because I like them. This is, you can personalise this. You put a bit of celeriac in there if you like. You can put swede. Root vegetables are traditional with this. Carrots, I think, are a must. It doesn't matter too much of the size. Just as Chef John says on Food Wishes, pick a size and stick to it. Now sometimes parsnips, the core is particularly woody if they're large. This one wasn't so much, and it's going to cook again for quite a while, so I was happy to leave it in there. But if it is particularly bad, you might want to just take that out. Make sure you give your celery a little wash first. I'm racing through this. There's rather a lot to do. I'm not adding any garlic in the braise part of this, but feel free to if you like. I had some garlic in with the stock. Shepherd's pie, I suppose, being a very traditional British dish, you wouldn't necessarily think of having garlic in it. Just showing you where the root was for dicing an onion. Cut close to it, but not all the way through. That root will hold it together. I actually had another half an onion knocking around. That did go in it as well. So that is 1.5 onions there you're looking at. It's quite a lot. Herbs completely up to you. When I'm doing a stewed dish or braised dish, I do like to use nice hardy woody type of herbs. They've got plenty of time to cook down and get soft, but as long as you chop them up nice and small, strip them off the stalks, the really woody parts of the stalks. That's the rosemary done. I'm going to do the same with thyme now. I'm just going to, with my fingers basically, pull it off from the stems. Some bay leaf would be nice in there as well. I'm using parsley in this dish as well, so what I've also done, you don't see me here, I'll do it in a minute. I'm chopping up the stalks from the parsley and I add it to this as well. Alright then, so vegetables need to be sweated down. They take quite a long time to do. I'm cooking these for about 10 minutes. They can colour a little bit, but you don't want them getting too brown. The pan will develop a bit of a fond, which is where it browns and sticks on the pan. That's fine, don't worry about that, because you're going to deglaze with the wine. So this took quite a while, so I've just used a bit of editing to speed through this. That is a drinkable wine. In fact, I'm finishing the rest of it off as I record this now. But it's not expensive. Don't spend a lot of money on wine for cooking. It's not necessary. So the whole point of this part is I want to reduce that wine till it's almost gone before I add the stock. That way we know we've definitely cooked out all of the alcohol from it. So there you go, it's almost completely dry now. So I've got the herbs mixed in now. We're going to make a roux, which is what you would do if you're making a bechamel or some sauce like that. So the flour is going to mix in with these vegetables, get it really well combined. That is going to thicken the gravy. Turn your heat down at this stage. You don't want this on a high heat, because that flour will catch, you'll burn the pan, and you potentially ruin your dish. So that is the strained lamb stock. Well, it's beef stock, but it's obviously very lamby at this stage. While that's simmering gently and thickening and reducing, let's sort through this lamb. I don't want this in tiny pieces, but what I discovered there was a bit of bone that I'd missed earlier. And that was a bit of just connective tissue or gristle, not very nice. Take that out. I've left that really chunky. It will continue to break down once it goes back into the stew. So you can see how now that the sauce in there, the gravy if you like, has thickened. Go gently here. I'm just moving it around, just sort of almost folding it in. If you stir it too quickly, you're going to break that lamb up into almost a mush, and you won't have any texture. So for the amount of parsley I'm using in this dish, that's half of it. The other half I'm reserving for the mashed potato. I just fancied it. Definitely not essential. I just think it looked nice. This is enough to serve 6 people, so I've chosen a particularly big dish. I'm going to have to own up to a very large error of judgment on this. Originally, I didn't do anywhere near enough potatoes for the mash. I don't know what I was thinking of. Obviously, you need to put a great big chunk of butter in there to make it better. But it wasn't enough, so I then basically got a load more potatoes done, made a second batch of mash, and in a minute you'll see that the amount in the pan has increased somewhat. On the recipe, it's 2.5 kilos. That is spot on. That's the exact amount you need. There you go, all of a sudden we've increased that somewhat. Giving it a quick whisk will help you make it even smoother. Feel free to put some mustard in there, a couple of egg yolks, anything you want really. I'm piping. So there's a star nozzle, and this is the worst piping bag in the world. It's now in the bin. Absolutely sick of it. As I was piping it kept actually coming through the material. I'll be buying some nice plastic disposable ones next time. Also, the last sort of hour or so, I've had the stew, that mixture you can see there, in the fridge. That's why it looks a slightly different colour. I wanted to cool it down a bit because it makes it a lot easier to get the potato on top. That's a useful tip there. Anyway, so keep refilling your bag. By all means, just spoon it on and spread it across with a palette knife. It's up to you, really. I just think this looks particularly nice. Gorgeous. I've made a right mess of my oven. It's now actually cleaning as we speak, because that spilt over, landed on the bottom, made a mess of the dish, but my god, does it taste yummy. So there we go. That's my version of a braised lamb shoulder shepherd's pie. Give it a go, let me know how you get on. This is me eating said pie. It was delicious, I promise you. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check me out in the next video, which should be coming soon. Cheers then. Bye.